Today on Island Focus, you will enjoy meeting Dr. Phil Bossert, who is the Executive Director for the Hawaiʻi Association of Independent Schools. Thank you for being with us today, Phil.
Happy to join you, Lila.
You have a lot on your hands as well with all your private schools. Can you share with us, please, a little bit about the challenges and adjustments that you're making?
The major one was within a couple of weeks for all of our schools to pivot from face-to-face learning in a campus setting to online learning in a home setting. And although some of our teachers are very good at that and some of our schools had some experience with it, the vast majority of our teachers and schools did not have that. And so it was a whole bunch of professional development for the teachers during spring break, and then a whole bunch of professional development for parents once it started. And I think most people don't realize there's 120 private schools in Hawaii, not just the ones you hear about all the time. And the vast majority of them are not big with thousands of students. They're 300, 200 students or less, and very small setting.
And in your role as Executive Director, it's support, because the association is a professional gathering, I guess, of all the heads of school.
This is our 50th year, so 50th anniversary year. It started out with just about 20 of the larger private schools back in 1969. Our association accredits and or licenses all of the private schools in Hawaii. And we also provide professional development services, like we run the annual Schools of the Future conference in cooperation with the Department of Education. And then we also help to market private education in general. There's about 34,500 students in Hawaii that attend private schools.
And how has your role as Executive Director changed or enhanced, shall I say, in this period of time?
Yeah, so we've switched really to helping gather as much information, summarize it, sift through it, and then I do a daily update with our heads of school at the end of the day on this is what we found out about this and so on. We have a Zoom gathering every other Tuesday of all the heads of school to share information, trying to help them understand how they're going to reopen. Reopening is just going to be a nightmare because they're suggesting that every child 3 to 5 and above should be wearing a mask and social distancing. And anybody who's been in a room with 5 or 10 5-year-olds, you can't imagine how trying to keep the masks on them and keep them apart is going to be. And for a large school like that has thousands of students, trying to find space for all of those students so that you only have 10 people in a room at a time and things like that it's going to be a really difficult task. And all of our schools are working on it, and we're sharing a lot of information on how to do it.
In addition to the physical distancing, there's also so many other considerations in terms of teaching strategies, interaction with the students. How do you foresee that unfolding in the independent schools?
We've seen a large shift away from covering the curriculum type education towards project-based learning over the last 10 years. And so it is somewhat easier to do project-based learning remotely, but a big piece of it is teamwork, and often it involves building something or designing something. And so even that, if you can't have groups of students together, is problematic. Not every student has his or her own bedroom or his or her own computer, and many of our schools are rural schools just like the public schools, and they have difficulty with broadband access to internet and have to share rooms with a large number of people, so it's not the ideal learning environment.
As we wrap up our conversation for today, can you just speak a little bit more about that internet connection and that broadband need across the state?
Yes, so I'm part of a broadband working group that includes like Hawaiian Telecom and Spectrum, but also about 30 other individuals at the university and the schools and the state that are working on trying to make sure that there is broadband access across the state for every area. that's not the case now. And it's not just for education. The telehealth people are involved in this as well, so that people who are very remote can get access to doctors and stuff like that. So right now, if you live in Honolulu, it's great, lots of hot spots. But if you live in Waimea or outside someplace, it's pretty difficult to get online with regular connectivity, if at all. So lots to be done in that area.
A few parting thoughts as we step into the next day of shelter in place.
I think we're a little bit worried that so many people, they've lost their jobs and have less liquidity economically. And so many of our parents may not be able to pay tuition at our schools. And I'm sure Christina Kishimoto doesn't want an extra 5,000 kids suddenly showing up on her doorstep when they're facing budget cuts and the like too. So we're doing our best to try to help parents keep their kids in our schools and do a good job of educating them in the new normal.
Well, thank you very much for your time. And it's very reassuring to know that you in particular are on this task force regarding broadband in Hawaii, and that you're helping our independent schools navigate this very challenging time. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lila.
Thank you, too, for tuning in to Island Focus. You've just had the opportunity to meet Dr. Phil Bossert, who is the Executive Director for the Hawaii Association of Independent Schools. Aloha.